Jai Gurudev, Rishka. Are you
Jai
ready?
Gurudev. Yes, yes, I am ready. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Okay, so thank you so much to accept our invitation to be
Oh,
on
thank
this
you.
platform.
Thank you for
Okay,
having me. It's such a pleasure. Thank you.
yeah, so now the Chinese Sangha members, they just joined, and
Mhm.
we're gonna start with the starting prayer. Okay, okay. Om. 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 Ajnanaatimirandasya jnanachakshalakkaya chakshuluminidam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Okay, great. So I don't I just ask the host to change it to spotlight both of us
Mhm.
because now I can only see a very small view. Okay, now it's better. Great. So, uh, yeah, Rishka, we know that you have been with Guruji for very, very long time. But normally we start from the beginning. Like, how did it happen for you?
Okay.
How did you met Guruji, or how did your journey start?
Yeah, so I met him in 2007 and I was 22 at the time. Um, and I had already known about gurus and things like this. My family, as I shared with you before, was with Yogananda, so it wasn't foreign to me. But I had never thought about actually meeting a guru in the body or anything like this. And I had just moved to California. I had decided to start over with my life, and I was not looking for anything. I was thinking, okay, I have to find what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try um, what's the word? It was a moment of like more freedom for me somehow, because I was always a very, very dutiful daughter. I always was home with my mother, all these things. So I was in California for the first time. And actually, I saw his picture one day when I was at the beach. I was at the beach, taking the sun, in my bikini, drinking a latte.
Typical, enjoy
Yeah,
your life.
exactly, exactly. And I saw his picture and I said, oh, okay, this person is coming, this guy is coming next weekend. It looks fun. I said, okay, it looks fun. And I took it home to my auntie, because I was living with my auntie at the time. And she said, oh, I wanted to go last year because he came also to California last year, but I had a feeling I was waiting for something. And I think I was waiting for you. And she said, so let's go together next weekend.
Mhm.
And so we went for darshan. And again, you know how it is in the beginning, you don't know anything about anything. But yeah, for me, it was very much when Guruji walked in the door, it felt like a movie. It felt like um, a Hollywood movie, like where the time stops and the strings begin to play. And I was just immediately, I knew, I saw him and I said, this is it. I'm sure of it. I was really sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Wow.
mean,
So
I
then,
can keep going, but I
yeah,
don't. Ah,
yeah,
yeah.
we are looking forward. We are looking forward for you to keep going.
Okay, so Guruji walks in the door and I just saw this very, very beautiful being. Very beautiful. And I always say Guruji, when I first met him, especially, he's not identifiable as a man or a woman, he's just a being, like this being that's so bright. And for the darshan, sometimes, he's asking the people to hold a wish, to think of a wish that they have in their heart. And at the time, my wish was, give me a sign. I need a sign. I want a sign. And even I didn't know what I wanted the sign to mean. I just said, I need a sign And I was very, very determined. I said inside to myself, I said to God, because I had a relationship with God before somehow. I prayed, I meditated before, but I said to God, and if you don't give me a sign, I am done with you for this lifetime. I will not continue.
So
Like
you
the
are
relationship.
threatened. You are
Yeah,
threatened.
like exactly, exactly. So when I went for darshan, I mean, you know that feeling where the heart is like, and I just said, give me a sign, give me a sign, give me a sign, like a mantra over and over and over again. And when I took darshan, there was no sign. There was no sign. He didn't say anything. Nothing happened. He didn't do anything. But I was really angry because he spoke to each member of my family, because my cousins came, my auntie came, my uncle came, and with each of them he spoke, but with me he didn't speak. And I was so upset. I was sitting in my chair really like boiling with anger. And it happened, maybe I was sitting there like 10 minutes like that. And believe it or not, I don't know, maybe it'll be hard for the panel to believe, but in that darshan, it seemed my auntie suddenly said, "Oh my gosh, he's saying something to me." She was sitting next to me in the darshan. We had already taken darshan and we came back to the chairs, and she said, "He's telling me." So she's far away, Guruji's in the front. He's telling me to send you to the front. And but my auntie, I must say, she is very talented, let's say, intuitively. But anyways, I didn't care. In that moment, I didn't even think, is this practical or not? Is this real or not? I was just so relieved that somebody was giving me some sign that I followed. I went up, I went to the front. She said, Guruji's calling you back to the front. And so I walked back to the darshan front of the stage, and I stood there looking at him. And then without looking at me, he gestured with his hand. He made come. And he gestured to sit on the other side of him. And that was it. So he didn't say any word, he just gestured. So somehow it was like, okay, my auntie heard correctly, I think, maybe. And I had my sign, finally. So I was very relieved that somehow there was a sign. And that was the moment that I decided, okay, I need to spend the rest of my life with him. And I put together, at that time he had to go back. He went back traveling. So I saw him only for that darshan. And I knew he was going to come back in 6 months' time. That was all I knew. So I didn't know about Bhakti Marga. I had never heard about Germany. I had not heard about his ashrams. I knew nothing. And in 2006, 7, at this time, there was very little online. And so all I saw was a small thing online that he has brahmacharis. And I knew somehow what it was, but even it wasn't important to me. I just said, okay, I'm going to become a brahmachari because I can see that somehow those are the people who live with him. The brahmacharis live with him. And so the next 6 months, I spent the next 6 months just um, paying off anything that I still had outstanding. I was working, but it was all in preparation to become this brahmachari. But keep in mind, I hadn't spoken to him yet. This was all in my mind.
So he gestured you to sit aside, but didn't speak with you.
And at this time, the only word he said to me was tired. And I said to him, yes, I mean, because while we were sitting there, I was shocked also, like after 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, I was like, when is the darshan going to end? Keep in mind, I was quite young. I was not, I was not ready for all that. And so he said, tired? And I said to him, yes. and he handed me an orange. And really, I was so fresh at the time. I didn't know like etiquette. And so I began to open the orange and I ate it right there. I was like, oh my God, thank God he gave me something to eat because I'm so tired of this darshan. How long are we going to sit here? So, yes, from this one word of tired, I had decided, yes, this is the rest of my life. Yeah.
Okay, then
So the end of the story was just that he came back after 6 months, and I had, at that time, I had, yeah, I had assumed, okay, I'm going to ask him if I can become brahmachari, whatever that is. And if he says yes, okay, great. So that weekend, it was a Friday, and I had an interview with him because at that time he was giving small interviews. And I asked him, I said to him, I was so nervous because at this point we hadn't spoken ever. I asked him, Swami, at that time, Swami, I'd like to be brahmachari. And he said, okay. And then he said it's so gentle that I thought he didn't understand.
对，因为我这
And
边也没有收到我的短信。
oh, is it too
对，
fast?
我刚才去看。
okay, something. Okay, please mute yourself, please. Okay, sorry.
No, no problem. And so then I thought he didn't understand me because he answered so easygoing. So a second time I said, Swami, no, I'd like to be brahmachari. And he said, yes, okay. Again, just like that. Yes, yes, okay. And then I was really thinking, oh my God, he didn't understand. I have to be really clear now. And I said, Guru, I said, Swami, I would like to be brahmachari. And then he said, yes, okay, we can do it tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, and you was like 20, 23, you said, or 27?
At this time, 22. 22.
22, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you're so sure.
Oh, I was so sure. And so the next day we did the ceremony and it was very lovely. I had no idea about it. And yeah, the point was also to share with the Chinese Sangha. I really had no idea. Like my idea of becoming brahmachari was like, I knew it was monastic. I knew it was celibate, all of these things. But I thought it was like, in my mind, okay, so imagine I met him wearing a bikini, and in my mind was, okay, I'm going to become brahmachari. I better go buy a one piece swimsuit, you know? Because for
Mhm.
sure we're going to be in Mauritius together. We're going to be always doing something. I'll be swimming in the ocean every day. But so I had the initiation, and what happened afterwards was there was darshan the next day, and I was waiting all day for Guruji to tell me which time we leave. And I went for darshan, and I was getting so nervous because I was thinking all day he didn't say anything to me. All day. So I'm brahmachari now, and he didn't say anything. And so I in darshan I asked him, Guruji, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I need to know when we're leaving because I have to go back home to get my suitcases. And he said to me, what? And I said, my suitcases, they're just at the house, but I know you're leaving tonight, and so I have to go get the suitcases to go with you. And he looked at me like completely shocked, and then he started to laugh. And actually, this was maybe one of my hardest moments with Guruji because I understood in that moment that he didn't intend to take me with him. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I just became this brahmachari, which I don't mind, but it was all because I was committed that wherever he is, I must be. And so he did leave, end up leaving, and I stayed in the US for a few months longer. But then at a certain point, he called me to Germany, and I stayed in Germany after that.
Oh. Wow, that's
Mm.
what. So that's a very like impressive story. And we know that yeah, because we know that you were responsible for the kitchen, and you were also like managing the Just Love Festival, like a
Yeah.
very two big seva, like for a very long time, right? For like more than 10 years.
Yes, yes. The kitchen, I think I took over in 2010. So that was for over 10 years. And the festival we started in 2015, and then I helped with 8 more, 8 more of them. And yeah, it was a very let's say strong seva that
Yes.
requires a lot of energy and power and commitment. But for me, I must say the kitchen was, I always had a very strong picture of wanting to serve Guruji in his lifetime, like in his life. And for me, the kitchen was like a natural place to serve him, in the sense of really, I think, even though I was young, but I really had the strong wish to create a home for Guruji. That when he would finish with his work, when he would finish with his day, that him and his friends and his children would have a home. So for me, it was like, okay, I want that the kids have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They have what they need. Everyone is well fed. And I don't know, I mean, I think somehow when the belly is happy, well, the people are also happy. So
Yeah,
for me,
that's the most important thing. But
yeah, yeah.
it like start like you are not a how to say professional chef, right?
No, not at all, not at all.
You landing in the kitchen, like managing. We know that for experienced devotee, we know how important or how serious kitchen could be. Yeah, and Guruji is very like stay quite a lot of time in kitchen actually. So
Yeah,
yeah, how did it for you? Because you were so young, like and you end up in the kitchen.
yeah. No, I was really, really young. And again, I think I approached um spiritual life and spirituality, I think, with the mentality of family. And so I'm absolutely not a professional chef. People ask me, and sometimes I'm a little bit shy, because actually I'm definitely not a chef. Um, I much more feel a relationship much more with like the exhausted housewife or the mother, or like, but very much more of a home. And so yeah, for me it was really this idea of serving my family, with Guruji, of course, being the head of the family. And so it was hard in the beginning, I think, but it never was a question of do I want to do it or not. It was simply learning how to do it. And in those early days, oh my goodness, like it's still a lot of work now, but those early days, it was really 18 hours, 19 hours, 20 hours. It was so much, because it was really this beginning years where we were developing everything. And I was learning, the teams were learning, we're finding new ways. We're finding what works for the community, what they don't like, what they do like, how Guruji wants to be served, how he wants to eat. Yeah, and I mean, just to give like the color of the ashram, I always used to say, we had, at that time we had about 60 residents. Um, but I always said we had 2 residents who had, all the residents had a different need. They all liked something different, right? One likes only cooked food, one wants to eat Ayurvedic, another person likes raw food, another person wants to only juice, another one of the boys, he only wants to eat pasta every day. And so we used to have two extreme people in the ashram, one woman she was very, very extreme because she had some pancreatic issues, and she wanted to only live on light and quinoa if she
Oh,
could. And we
yeah.
had one boy in the ashram who, if he could eat pasta and cheese every day, he would. So they were really like far, far apart. And for me, in the kitchen, I used to always say the best day, the day when the kitchen absolutely met our goal, was the day when both of them were happy, right? And so for me, it was always this feeling of serving the community that, wow, I want all of them to come to the table, and that the food is an expression of love for them, and that their wellness is taken care of, that they feel well and appreciated when they come to the table.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, Guruji, of course, anyways.
Yeah. Then how does it work? Like because like you said, everybody has their like a preferred menu. So like they all raise their request, and then you are supposed to satisfy them. Like how is it possible?
You know, that was the thing. It's not. It isn't possible. And yet, of course, every person, I think every person who's worked in the kitchen and will serve in the kitchens of the ashrams, you will find your own way, you know? And so each responsible person for the kitchen will also find what feels right for them. I think for me, it was very much that the energetic place, the energetic container with which we approach the cooking has to be correct. And so when I was running the kitchen, for me, it was very important that first I used to say, but now I don't know anymore, but I used to say to my team, if you can't love the people, it's better you don't cook. If you don't have them in your heart, it really, really better you don't cook, because the thing is you're not going to be able to please everybody. Really, there's going to be days where somebody says, oh, I don't like that, and this isn't what I wanted, and. And it's the same way in a home. You know, I think mothers out there will know that there are days where they cannot please their whole family, and that's just a family of 4, right? Or 5 people. So even you know that you cannot please them all. But of course, when the mother cooks, the energy that she's cooking with still is holding that place of care and love. And this, I do believe, is what actually in an ashram, one of the things that the people are actually eating, you know. And so there were days that they would say, oh, but I don't like this and I don't like that and I didn't want that and da. And outwardly they're unhappy, but at the same time, the vibration of love of the food, they know that they were cared for. They know that somebody took time to think about them. This was another thing for me, was always important, even if I cannot fulfill their needs, but to be consciously aware what each resident likes and what they don't like. So even when we were 100 residents, you could point any resident out and I could tell you what they like to eat and what they don't like, which digestive problems they have and what they don't have. You know, oh, so-and-so, Swami Keshava, he likes mushrooms, but his brother doesn't, you know? This every nuance, because again, you're holding the energy of the people in your mind and approaching the dish with that knowledge and care of what they need and what they like. Even on the days where I had to say, okay, Pankaj, it's mushrooms today, you're not going to like it. But he knows that the kitchen remembered him, they thought of him. He was part of the decision. Today we cannot please him, but we love him anyways. Yes?
Wow, that's
How
so
I
interesting. Wow. Okay, so you cook for the residents, and then there is a Guruji's like a separate kitchen. You cooked separate for him.
Yeah, so yeah, in the early days, it was much more, we were so small that it was depending on the days. First, because we didn't have a big team, one of the things that in the early days that I felt was very important was the food for the residents must be intentional enough and good enough that I can serve it to Guruji. Yes, because of course for me it was also Guruji is in each person, and also we don't have so much time. And so if we don't have time to necessarily cook, for example, generally what would happen very practically was that lunch would often be the same meal for the residents and Guruji at that time, and dinner would be an extra meal. It's because dinner we had more time, because lunch was always the main meal in the ashram. So yes, we had a separate kitchen for Guruji, but of course, again, the intention should always be approached that one is cooking for the Lord, even in the residents, even in the people. I think when you see this great divide, sometimes I'm very concerned when I see this in the ashrams, that there's this very big divide in intention and care. The people, oh, okay, the residents, blah, 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 and Guruji, they take such precision, which
Yeah.
is good. But we're also forgetting something, huh? you know? And also how important it is for Guruji that the residents are well served. But as I was sharing with you, Ramdasi, like you can see now from the story I was telling you before, how it also could get out of balance for me. Because of course, like I was telling you, it was always there was a time where like again, like I think any mother has, there's a time where your entire like I don't know, the kids become such the focus. They become more of the focus than your partner in a way, no?
Yeah, that's a wonderful story.
Mm.
Yeah, please share. How does like how did he make you realize that you are out of balance?
Yeah, it was one Navaratri, and again, extremely long days. So it would be something like starting at 5 o'clock in the morning, finishing at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. And so very, very, very tired. And I had begun to. So, okay, let me back up. So what happened was, let me go a step back. It was Navaratri, and we had begun Navaratri, which it's always an interesting time because it's the diet, where everybody is fasting somehow in some way. So first, the food is not like, it's more difficult to make it tasty in a way. And night one comes, I've finished Guruji's dinner and I'm in bed. It's maybe Guruji at that time was eating extremely late. So he was sometimes eating midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, sometimes even later.
I
So
thought that's his usual dinner time, no?
it still is, but he always plays that he wants to begin to eat earlier. Oof, my God, he's always, I'm going to start eating earlier, but it rarely happens. But at that time, it was really always 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, very late. And so I would lay down to go to sleep, and the first night I got a call, and at that time I always had my phone on because especially for the kitchen, and his voice wakes me up. Hey, Buggy, what did you cook? This is disgusting. I don't like it. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, because I was asleep, I'm shaken, and I say, oh my gosh, sorry, Guruji. Okay, I'll do something different tomorrow. I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. Right? So the next day comes, I make him dinner again, and second night he calls again at about 2 o'clock in the morning to complain, what is this? This is gross. Why? Like, don't do that. And the third night comes, and by this time, like after the second night, I went to bed with fear. I was scared to sleep, thinking, oh my God, he's going to call again. And this happened for about 4 or 5 nights in a row. And I was really at my wit's end. I didn't know anymore what to think. And I was like, oh my God, what to do? What to do? Like, and so I was like trying to think like, how can I make his dinner different? And then something happened. I was just going through my day and I was observing myself. I was observing myself that very often during the day, I would have the attitude or the thoughts like, yeah, but okay, the kids, because literally I call the residents the kids, the kids, the children. I would say, yeah, but the children, they need this, and I have to look to see about making to see what this one likes, and anyways, and oof, we have to see how they're going to do. Because for me, it was also very difficult to see the residents, because I think also in an ashram, the food is so important, also because we've given up so many worldly pleasures, right?
Yeah, like the food is the only thing we keep, the only thing we keep for our enjoyment.
Exactly, exactly. And so there's not so much left. So for me, it was also very important that the residents felt a sense of well-being from the food. But so all the day I'm thinking, oh, but the residents, and I would also often think to myself, oh yeah, but anyways, we will see. You know, I will make such and such for Guruji, but anyways, he'll understand. So I had this idea that Guruji should understand because he's God, and anyways, he's fine. He's okay. But the kids are not okay. They're suffering, they're having a hard time, blah 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 blah. So all of my energy would go into the residents, really, like all of my also to explain my physical energy, but also my heart energy. My heart energy, my love was mostly for the residents. I was like, okay, I have limited energy. I'm tired. And Guruji will understand. He's God. He'll be fine. It's okay. And this was my attitude during the day. And after the 5th time of Guruji complaining to me, I really started to reflect. I said, maybe I'm not taking care of my Lord, Guruji, the way I should. You know, here I am, and I should be cooking for my beloved in the evening. And I came, even my desire to serve his children, somehow it's about him, not only the kids. And so I really said to myself, you know what? I had the thought, you know, if I will, he's right. If the partnership, if your relationship with God is solid, then the children are naturally watered, you know? So you have to water the partnership with the divine first, and then the children naturally, the day of what they need, because the strength is flowing from here, they will naturally be watered with what they need. So if I will water my relationship with Guruji, with the divine, if I will think first of taking care of him and his needs, he will naturally support me in being able to take care of their needs in a different way, more with his energy rather than with my physical energy, which is limited. And so as soon as I made that shift that day, the 6th day of Navaratri, I shifted. I said to myself, okay, I will approach his meals as the first priority, and the residents second. So he comes first, and their meals will be always in my mind as second place. Then he stopped calling. He was happy with the food.
So that's all he wants. Like
Yeah,
you know like the priority.
yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. No, I had my priorities completely mixed up.
It reminds me about like the Titan project. Like we said that no, if we give donation to like maybe Red Cross to some poor people, but yeah, maybe we have something good. But actually, we are not really knowing like who needs what, when, and we don't know. So it's best that we donate to how do I say up, not down, not to
Exactly.
people who are less privileged, but really donate to like to God. So he knows where to put those
Exactly.
blessings.
You said it so well. Exactly that. That really that the divine can begin to use you as an instrument because your focus is with God and not on the people. And that God will take care. I think that's also a very good point. I think I felt so much pressured to take care, forgetting that it will be Guruji who will take care. Mm,
Mm. So I
mm.
guess in the kitchen there are so many like interesting story happened. So could you share some like a really makes you happy or some events that really surprise you or scare you?
Of just the save a life.
The
Um, huh?
any kind of.
Any kind.
Mm.
Um, I think so with Guruji or yes, with Guruji, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, with best with Guruji.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, but if you think it's a very wonderful story, yeah, we don't mind. It could be with other
Yeah,
residents, of course.
yeah. No, I have to say again, the seva of the kitchen is very dear to my heart. It was always my favorite. And so it was never um uh I think we touched upon it before that a lot of people, when they're in the kitchen, especially the kitchen, you're missing a lot of events. You're missing a lot of time um, with Guruji. I mean, just to share with the Chinese Sangha, I think in the entire 15, 16, I don't know how many years that I know Guruji, I think I've been to maybe now, maybe 10 satsangs with Guruji. I didn't go to many. A few years back, it was maybe only 4. And many courses I've never done in person with Guruji. I never did Sri Yantra or Guru Gita but nothing, even in the early years.
How about
And
pilgrimage?
oh, what?
How about pilgrimage?
Oh, the resident pilgrimage I went on when we had the resident pilgrimage, which was always lovely because the kitchen is closed. We go somewhere. Yes, resident pilgrimage was very nice. But so for many people, I know it's also many people working in SPN, it was sometimes hard. They were really sad to be serving in the kitchen when Guruji was somewhere else, which we can speak about it later more, but I don't want that people feel bad about that because actually it's also another expression of one's relationship with the divine. This longing that one has that you want to be there where he is. But of course the kitchen cannot always be there. But I must say, I have to be honest, I never had that feeling. For me, it was always my greatest pleasure to be there serving. Even when he was somewhere else, I was very happy to take care of him in his home. And so my sweetest moments with Guruji, he has come to the kitchen so much. I think next to the 2 departments that he goes to the most, generally in any ashram, are, I would say, the temple and the kitchen. And so there was many opportunities where Guruji would show his presence, that he's there with us. I think, okay, sweetest moments. Um, okay, very sweet moment that for me was like, oh my goodness, Guruji, you're so cute. I remember once he had just arrived back from Mauritius, and so he was gone for maybe 3 weeks, and this was in the beginning, so maybe 2000, 2010, maybe it's mid 2009, 2010. And I was downstairs, and very often when like around in the nighttime, I would bake. It was the time when I had time to bake because people are gone and I can concentrate and measure properly and somebody's not disturbing me all the time. So I had started to bake something, and I had the thought, oh, I wish I had a fresh vanilla pod, you know, the pods of vanilla. Which, of course, also in an ashram, this is like, especially then, this was like a premium ingredient. It was just a wish. And really, Ramdasi, Chinese Sangha, 10 seconds later, there comes running down the stairs of the kitchen one Prabhu from Guruji's bungalow with a pack of vanilla pods this big and said, Guruji said to bring this to you.
Wow, yeah, because they
Yeah.
brought it in Mauritius. In Mauritius,
They brought
it's
it
quite,
from Mauritius. But
yeah.
yeah, they brought it from Mauritius. But it was really, I had the thought, I want one. And the next moment it was there. So this was a very sweet moment with him. Also, he's cooked. Guruji, he loves to cook.
Yes.
He has come many, many times to cook. And when he comes to cook for the residents, he's very often singing, he's dancing with us, we're laughing a lot. And of course, I must say, many times, at least 4 or 5 times, I've seen him stir the pot with the boiling water. Like, also him, like not me, but also he's very okay with very, very hot temperatures. It's not a problem for him. This
Yeah,
is always.
we heard the story that one time he also showed you how to do that.
Yeah, this was also very sweet. Yeah, he was putting his hands in the boiling water and extracting this dehydrated soy and squeezing it and putting it into a colander. And at the time, again, one thing about me is I'm not always thinking before I say. So very easygoing. I said to him, oh, wow, that's cool. I said, I would like to do that too. And really, guys, it was boiling water. The fire was on, water is boiling, like it was boiling. And he said to me, okay, yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard. He said, okay, just look at me, because we were standing side by side. He said, just look at me, and just start to do it. But just stay looking at me. I said, okay, no problem. Okay. So I'm looking at him, and I reach my hands into the boiling water, and I take the soy out, I squeeze it, and I put it in the basket. And like this, we're continuing, and we're laughing. I'm laughing like, look at that, we're doing it. But again, it was very it was a miracle, but it was not a miracle in the moment. In the moment, it was normal life. Normal life. Like my friend has showed me something funny, something new, and we're doing it. And then what happened was, at some point we were having so much fun that I forgot that I was supposed to be looking at him, because we were laughing and blah, blah, blah. And like you normally do, you start looking around, and I started to look at my hands. And in that moment, when I had consciousness of what I was doing, then the mind steps in. And I was shocked. And then but it was very gentle. Very gently, I could feel the heat start traveling up my hands. And oh, Guruji, it's hot. It's very hot. And he laughed and he said, yeah, but I told you to stay looking at me. And I said to him, oh, I forgot. And that was it.
Wow, so he taught you like in such a practical way. Focus on
Yeah,
him,
focus on him. Focus on me.
then we can
I
do it.
can do everything. Exactly.
Wow,
Exactly.
okay. Yeah, I remember you share with us some like wonderful pictures. Let me try to find them and share with everybody.
Mhm.
So in the meantime, maybe you can think about like the harsh time, some some tough
Mhm.
stories.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me put
Mhm.
this.
Harsh times.
Okay, just let me open these pictures. Yeah, we know, yeah, Guruji like really enjoy the kitchen. Like when he was in the kitchen, he's always, I don't know, maybe you know better, like in a good mood.
Yeah, I think I shared with you, which I'm cautious about it, but I shared with you that he did say the only departments necessary. So it's not that they're the most important, but he said it's not like they're the most beautiful in this, but he said the only departments necessary to have an ashram are the kitchen and the temple. And it's true when he comes to the kitchen, but it's the same. Yeah, he's happy. He's very happy normally. But also he's relaxed. I wouldn't say he's always happy, but he's relaxed. The
Mhm.
kitchen is, I mean, but I think that's like it in any home. No, the kitchen is like the home, like where the
Yeah.
family comes together, everybody passes by, you need a tea, you need a cookie, you come by again, mom is making something, dad is doing something. The kitchen is like that. And Guruji, I think, yeah, he likes the kitchen.
Yeah, I think it also works very well, like for Sangha. As soon like as long as we have an altar, we can pray together. And when we have a kitchen that we can cook good food together, that's a wonderful Sangha.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, food is so it's
Important.
so important. And also, but you see it even in the rituals, the puja. Really, the whole puja is about how to receive the Lord and how much of it is offering drink and food, right? Like
Yes.
it's really this I give you and you give me, and yeah, food is very, very important. It represents this nourishment, I think. And Guruji, in that, he's a wonderful, wonderful host. Also, when people come, he wants everyone to be fed. He's a very wonderful host.
Okay, so I found the pictures I share with everybody. So I guess you can see. That's Guruji happily serving the guest.
Yes, yes. And
Ashram.
normally when he's serving, he's cooked. So he cooked this soup.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you
He
imagine
likes.
that? Or like he cooked for us and served us.
Yeah. And he's a good cook. Guruji is such a good cook, and I'm always so surprised because really he does it very effortlessly.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. Another one is like you cooked with him together.
Yeah, he
What
had
what were
asked.
you making?
We were making biryani, of course, and it was funny because he was asking for the saffron,
Oh,
and I was so, how do you say, like, because the saffron is such a precious herb, and we didn't have a lot. And so I brought him at first just a little bit, and he was like, Buddy, there's no more. And I said, Guruji, okay, but it's saffron. And he said, Buggy, it's me. And you can see my face like, are you going to put all that?
wow.
Yes, he put all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next one, next one, it's Guruji is like mixing something salad, maybe.
And no, this is actually soup. He's mixing a soup. He's mixing a
Okay.
soup, and you can see there, but it's on the other cooker. The fire is on, and he's mixing with his hand. Like
Oh,
no,
okay.
and that's why we're all watching like in shock because it's very hot.
So that's one of the miracle moments that
Yeah,
Guruji not
yeah, definitely.
stirring boiled water.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-mm.
Wow.
Yeah, very
Okay.
amazing.
I guess we have another one like really interesting that if Guruji is serving at the Baijian cafe, everybody is buying, no?
Yeah, exactly. No, he came to serve the people and to help, and that's the thing. I never saw a seva that Guruji didn't at some point help with. You know, if other people were doing, he often would come to help. He often wanted to help. Honestly, often.
Wow.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Then we are back.
And
Let's talk
yeah,
about like a harsh time.
the harsh times, the harsh times. Well, yeah, the harsh times. I'm trying to think. I had, let's see, the harsh times of the kitchen or with Guruji.
Maybe the one time that you didn't cook the
Oh
bread.
yeah. You know what? I think of that as a church time because it was with the church. It's true. Um, so yeah, you know, this was early on, and I was sharing with Ramdasi that I don't have so many memories of Guruji being harsh. And I think I know why. I think it goes back to this story. Because it was maybe 2000, again 2009. So I had come the year before, and Guruji, as always, he wanted, he asks you to do many things you don't know how to do. So at that time, he had told me, "Oh, Bagi, I want you to make the prosfora, which is the Russian Orthodox bread, for the liturgy." I think some of you might know that sometimes he celebrates the liturgy. And I don't know, have any of you has anybody done puja with him or had the experience to be in a close puja situation with him? Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
I guess we saw it, but we are not.
Guruji is very, very serious about his rituals. He takes rituals very, very seriously. Pujas, anything like that, he's 1,000% committed, and he does it with all his energy, with all his will, and he's very serious that it's done well. And the liturgy, my gosh, he was so serious about this because in the mass, basically with the bread is you invoke the Lord, you invoke the divine into the bread, and then it's shared amongst the people, right? And there's been, mystical stories. There's been many mystical stories. For example, one saint uh, he didn't celebrate the liturgy anymore because one time the bread turned into the baby Jesus, and he never could cut the bread again. But anyway, so that you understand, the bread is very important. So I baked this bread, and I wasn't very experienced. And so they had started the liturgy, and then they suddenly stopped the liturgy in the middle of the liturgy. And Guruji called me to the sacristy, so the small room near the church, and he closed the door, and there was a couple of other people in the room, and he started to yell at me. And I just remember that he said, "Do you know what you have done?" And he was so angry. And really, everyone, I fell apart immediately. I don't have any filters. I don't have a lot of filters, and I didn't have like a lot of like strength. For me, it was just like, so he said, "Do you know what you have done? This is the worst possible thing that could ever happen." But I'm saying it in a funny way, but he was really intense. He was really upset. And he said, the bread is not cooked. It's not baked in the inside. It's still dough. It's still wet. And I fell to my knees. I fell to my knees immediately, and I started to cry and cry and cry and cry, and the snot coming down my nose, everything running together. I mean, I fell apart. I completely fell apart. And I was begging him. I took his hand in my hand and I put it to my face. I said, please, Guruji, do something. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And again, in my naivete, I asked him, can't you fix it? Can you not do something? Anything? And I'm using his hands like almost to wipe my face, you know? And he's like, and but I'm so finished that I'm not even looking at him. I just want to die in this moment. And he was like, and then he was like, oh my God, like, calm down. Like,
That's
okay, calm down a bit. It's too much. But for me, it was just, I'm finished. I'm completely finished. I want to die. His his displeasure and the fact that I had done such a mistake really, really, it broke me. I was really broken. And so after that, but he was tough. He was still strict because we had to finish the liturgy. And I said, oh my, but again, without any thinking, I said, but how should I go outside and face the people? Because also what happens is the bread is like a dough and it went into the wine, like the juice. And imagine when you have wet dough and it goes into something liquid. It literally was just like strings of dough. Can you imagine? The outside had
wow.
looked baked. And I said, but how should I face the people? I cannot face them. Like, because again, for me, it was just like how embarrassing also. And he said, it's good. It's good to face the people to keep you humble. And then I said, okay, he's right. He's really right. Let me go now and be like completely ashamed and embarrassed and take part in the liturgy. And yeah, so that was one like tough moment, but of course, in some way, it was also very sweet. So it's hard for me to imagine these tough moments with Guruji, because at the end, there's always some sweetness about it somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he didn't enjoy all of my tears and mucus on his hand. And he didn't shout many more times because I think he was like, oh my God, she falls apart too much. Because some people are very strong. He yells and their faces don't change.
Maybe inside is like a real already like become a stone.
Exactly. Maybe. Or the people, they're more, how do you say? Or maybe there are more emotions inside. I don't have a lot of filters. If I think something, my face says it.
Yeah, so that's why we like at least for me it's so surprising because we know how hard in the kitchen like a long hour working and all the many people complaining, but you always laughing like and we can see you are laughing and we can hear you are laughing and you
Hmm.
also like really encourage other people to be happy while doing that very hard work. Like how did it work for you?
Yeah. Of course, it's true. It's true. And it's true that the seva sometimes it is extremely long. Extremely long. And I always say to people, don't think that because grace is flowing, that God's not going to use your body. Your body is going to hurt. Your feet are going to hurt. Everything is going to hurt. Yes, grace is flowing, but he still is using a body. Um, I think that it's a couple of things. I think remembering why you're doing it, I think is very important. And of course, we know we're doing it for Guruji. We know we're doing it for God. But how much of us really, really isn't in the present moment? I think so often our minds are somewhere else, again, wishing to be somewhere else, wishing for something else to happen. And this creates, of course, like a separation. Um, but okay, like very easy tip that for years and years and years I practice or I do, let's say, is when I have very long days, I'm very tired, so my body is hurting, my feet are hurting, I really imagine that the Lord is behind me. I imagine he's behind, really standing behind my back, and that he's embracing me. So if you ever see me close my eyes and lean back in the kitchen, it's because really, I'm really saying to God, oh my goodness, I'm so tired right now. I'm so tired. I think I've said that to God more times, as many times as I've told him I love him. So he's heard from me so many times, I'm so tired. And so often I'm telling him, oh Lord, I'm really tired. I don't know if I can keep going. I need you to hold me now. Even now I have tears in my eyes because because you do get tired. You do get tired. But he also really does come to hold you. And in that moment, I think, okay, let me keep going. Let me take this energy and let me keep doing what needs to be done. If ever any of you come to SPN, please visit the kitchen. And one of the things that you'll see on the altar, which I'm sure this picture has already traveled around the world, although Guruji did say it should stay only in the kitchen in SPN. One day he sent a picture for the kitchen, and he said, I want this on the altar of the kitchen. And it's a picture with him with the Panduranga tilak. So he has a big, big tilak like this with the point, right? And this was even before Guruji, before we had the Panduranga Mandir, before we had Vittala. And at first I didn't understand why he was sending the picture. But as soon as I started to read about Vittala, it was so beautiful because clearly what he was saying to all the people serving is he was saying, I'm right here. I will wait for you to finish your seva, the same way as Vittala said to Pundalik, I will wait for you to finish your seva, and I'm here when you finish, right? And so this picture really stands there on the altar like, do what you have to do. There's no problem, and so he is there, which reminds me of a story, if we have time for one more.
Sure, definitely.
I'm remembering a story exactly of this. Sometimes when I was in the kitchen, I was hoping like, and also trying, like I had this feeling like, ooh, I should try to be more spiritual. I should try to, because I was also thinking, oh my gosh, maybe it's not okay the way I am, and I should try something, spiritual like the other people. And I remember that Guruji, we had darshan that night, and it was the first time that Satyanarayana Das, Babaji from Vrindavan, it was the first time that he had come to visit the ashram. And keep in mind, I especially at that time, I was not so good at cooking Indian food. It was new for me. And so, of course, Guruji also, when he has a guest, he wants everything to be wonderful for the guest, yeah? And that very much also means the food and what they need and all of these things. And that day I was cooking dinner and I was making mung beans, the mung beans. And in between we had darshan. So I was boiling the mung beans and the dinner was going to be 2 hours later. So I was cooking, but we had to go take darshan. And I went to get in the line for the darshan, and when I got to Guruji, I looked at him, of course, but I couldn't think anything spiritual. When I looked at him, all I saw was mung beans. And I looked at him again, and I even made like, okay, focus. And second time, mung beans. And I'm looking in his eyes. Third time, I'm getting really frustrated. And I think, mung beans. And I think, of course, knowing me, I made a face like, like what? I want to think of God. I want to think of the divine. And Guruji asked me after he gave darshan, he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Guruji, I'm standing before you. I'm standing before God, having a spiritual moment, and all I can think of is mung beans." And he laughed and he said, "That's good. Think about your duty. Do what needs to be done." And he said, "God will come to you in the kitchen. You don't have to come to him." And it was really, again, this beautiful moment that he is there in the seva. You don't have to worry. You're not missing.
Wow, that's such a touching story.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so maybe we know that when you are getting initiated as a Richka, it's not a how to say wonderful moment for you.
No, it wasn't. It was very, very hard, actually. It was yes, it was a Guru Purnima. And Guruji said maybe 10 minutes before, "Okay, come, I'm going to initiate you as Rishika." And I was with Swamini Drishti and Swamini Dakshini at the time. And he initiated us, but for me, it was like my life had ended. It was such a terrible moment. Yeah, so when he told me, I started to cry. I really started to cry, and he was standing next to me, and I put my head on his shoulder because I was crying again. Again, poor him. I'm always I don't have filters. So I was crying, and he asked me, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "Guruji, I don't know if I can do it." I said, I don't want to do it. And I don't know if I can do it. I think at the time I was very concerned. I felt that if you have a certain color, there's going to be certain expectations of what you do and how you do them. And I felt like I certainly cannot do those things, what the other rishis and swamis do. And also I felt like, how will I be able to serve in the way that it's important to serve? It will get in the way of my service. It will get in the way of my seva. I cannot do it. And also I've also felt that I'm not. Yeah, I mean, certain things are difficult for me to understand. Like, of course, I know it's very important to spread the message of Bhakti Marga and Guruji. But I was sharing with Ramdasi, like, my personal feeling has always been that, like, all of the world is devotee. There's not one person who's not a devotee. And so again, I was thinking how I should meet people and be able to spread in the way that so many of the rishis and swamis are doing such amazing work, spreading his message. But when I meet the people, I always think, oh my gosh, you're perfect how you are. You're a devotee of the Lord exactly now. And what a beautiful manifestation you are now. What I have to spread to you. Okay, if you want to step into more conscious loving, yes, we can talk. But my goodness, what a lovely devotee there and there and there and there and there. Because again, for me, is like if we are all in the cosmic body of Narayana, who else but him should be there? And so how can I think that there's any problem with anyone in the entire world? There's no problem. Everything is perfect. So for me, it was also like, how should I serve and how should I have nothing to spread to the people. I have nothing to tell them. So I was crying a lot when he said to become Rishika, and actually he was, I have to be honest, Guruji was he was surprised that I was crying, and he was a little bit annoyed also. And because I asked him, "Are you sure?" I said, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this?" And he said, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" "Of course I'm sure." I said, "Okay, okay, don't get angry, don't get angry. Okay, okay." But so he asked me what was wrong, and I said to him, "Look, Guruji, I don't know how to do it like the other swamis and rishis. They're amazing, but I can't do it like that." And again, he said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I said, "Because Guruji, you know me. I'm a bit eccentric." This was the word I decided to use because I was trying to find the word weird. I don't know that I'm not so, I don't know how to do it like that. I'm doing it somehow in a different way. So I said eccentric. And actually his answer was very, very beautiful. He said, "Oh, I'm eccentric too." And he said, "I do it in my own way. I do it my way." And he said, "So?" He said, "So you do it in your way, and we'll be eccentric together. You do it your way, I do it my way." He said, "Don't worry how they do it." And so I said, "Okay, if you're sure, then let's walk this way. Let's walk how you want." In red or whatever. Yeah.
Wonderful. So how did the reality, I mean, expand for you? Does it like really happening? What's your like you have certain worry, you have some concerns, and but how was the real experience afterwards?
You know, yeah, it's been very difficult, if I'm honest. I don't know yet. You know, it's different now. It's very different. Guruji is, I think it's like, it's the next level of school, you know, and I'm so impressed with devotees that come now in this time, because Guruji is very different, you know, he's not holding the hand as much as he used to. So before, he was holding your hand in a way that you knew how the things should be. You knew, okay, we do this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And I think the school has become much harder, where, of course, and I can hear him now already saying to me, "Yeah, but Guruji," he's saying, "But Bhagi, you've been with me so many years. Of course you have to know now how to do the things." And he's right. He's right. But of course, still, there's this small part of me that wishes he was holding my hand on the outside, telling me, "Do this, do this, do this, do this, and this is how you can be a Rishika, da 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 da." But it's not like that. I think he's trusting now that we find the way, you know, that I find how to be eccentric and to be myself and to still support and serve the mission, you know? And so, yeah, it's been hard to find my own feet. You see, I'm crying even. It's been hard to find my own feet of knowing that I'm still in alignment with him, and that what I have to offer is useful in this role. So I think I'm still finding that confidence of, okay, I don't know how to give a lot of high knowledge to the people. So we recently did a Tadatmya class, a knowledge, where we're learning new things, and we're always learning with Guruji. But it's clear that I don't think I will ever be a philosopher. I'm really not someone who's going to be able to give high knowledge lectures. And so this has been interesting, finding the way of, okay, but I do think, okay, maybe I can still help to build sanghas and to let people know, okay, don't worry. It looks good what you're doing. Just just keep serving, try again tomorrow. But of course, it feels sometimes like, oh no, maybe I'm doing it wrong. But, at the end, I think I strongly believe, as Guruji says, that really Bhu Vaikunta is here, and there really isn't anything to do or to achieve or to say. It's rather to begin to walk the journey of being. So it's not the doing. You will do this or you will do that. But what am I going to be inside? So yeah, that's been a little bit of my journey as a Rishika.
But you are so humble that you say you of course, like not everybody is a philosopher, but you have all this essential knowledge. Like you know how to take care of Guruji's basic needs. You always like setting up like your mission now. You are in America, right? You are here present to prepare for Guruji's tour. So that like how to set up like in each necessary places. He has his own corner. He has everything he needs. That's that's the most essential things, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yes, I love that part of my work very much. I think wherever I go, I feel that it's an honor to be able to create, to help to create homes for Guruji, and because when he has a home and the right spaces for him to be, he is able to interact with the devotees, in a comfortable way, and also to create, for example, even with the festival or here in Elmira, oftentimes, like when I come somewhere or I'm on a project, I'm often thinking of small corners where, Guruji might like to, this will be nice. He'll like to sit there, and he'll sit there maybe in a small corner that looks beautiful, and a few devotees will be able to speak to him there. Or, if we do, this play like this, like for example, now in Elmira, we're thinking of Krishna Janmashtami, trying to think of the people that I know he will be entertained by, not only in the play, but afterwards he'll have a conversation with this person, because this person, there's something about them that I know Guruji will find very, very interesting, and we have to create the right moment and the right corner and the right food and all of these things for him. So it's lovely here in Elmira to do that.
And it comes from like your years of practice for Just Love, I guess.
Yeah, I think, actually, Ramdasi and Sangha, I think even the Just Love Festival, I think it came because from the food that, creating spaces for Guruji to interact with the people. And so the festival was just like a natural job that came, which at the time it was crazy, because to have the kitchen and the festival at the same time, it was like 4 full-time jobs at one time. But the festival was like, for me, like an extension, and in a way, an extension of creating his home, so that the devotees come and they have the possibility, and how do you say, creating experiences for Guruji and the devotees to experience with him, right? So yeah, the festival was like that for me, of like creating corners and entertainment and things that are going to spark interest in the devotees, and they will do something that will then spark something in Guruji, and Guruji then he's also shining back at them. So always creating this atmosphere, this home and experience that Guruji and the devotees are having this love play, let's say.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
It reminds me like Radha's Sakis. They always prepare all this setting so that Krishna and Radha could enjoy themselves.
Yeah, that's funny. I hadn't thought about that. That's sweet. That's sweet.
So
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
so like you're so loving. The way you see it, like you are create this kind of atmosphere or the condition that Guruji could enjoy this loving experience with all of us.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, his pleasure. Oof, my goodness. His pleasure is our pleasure, no? When he's
Mm.
happy, oh my goodness. You know, and yeah, I think yeah, honestly, just to see Guruji smile is oof, the highest, you know.
Okay. Yeah, so
Mm.
we still have some time. Maybe you could
Nice.
share with us like maybe some like miracle story.
Oh, yes, let me see what I wrote down, which miracles. Um, miracles. Okay, let me think. There was
Okay,
a
so maybe in the
lot.
meantime, we still save some time for people to ask questions. So you can take time to think about the
Yeah,
miracles. I'm just
yeah.
talking to the sanghas that they can write their questions in the chat box. So then we will have some time
Hmm.
to interact with them.
Nice, nice. Let me see. Oh, oh, of course. I mean, the miracle that Guruji he's done it a few times. Um, he has definitely a few times multiplied food for people. I shared with you, Ramdasi, the pot of butter for the first, that's the beautiful thing. Guruji also he trained us, in the beginning. I didn't know to make butter for Krishna, and one year he came back from India and he brought a very small clay pot. It was not, it was smaller than my hand. So smaller than the hand, this small clay pot. And he said, Bhagi, make butter for Krishna for the puja for tonight. And so we made butter and I put it in the pot and he offered it to Krishna that evening and he decided to give it as prasad to the people. And first, actually, before he even gave it as prasad to the people, he ate quite a lot of it. So he was spooning for himself this butter, and my goodness, he was so enjoying it so much. And he decided, okay, I'll give this butter to the people. So he called the people, come, you can have a spoon of this prasad. And we had really, I think maybe 700 people that for that Krishna Janmashtami. And of course, a tiny pot of butter. He gave all 700 people a spoon, a full spoon of this butter, and there's no way it was enough. And I was watching him because I was close to the front, and he had begun to, oh, I don't have a spoon with me, but he would begin to scratch. He was scratching the bottom of the pot with the spoon. The last, I don't know, 500 people? So the last 500 people, he's scraping like this. And each time, so you can hear the clay scraping on the spoon. And each time he pulls out a full spoon and hands it to the person. And so, of course, I'm watching this and I think to myself, how in the world? How in the world? And he keeps asking, more people? Anyone more? And he's still scratching like this. And clearly he was multiplying the butter. He was multiplying the butter for the people. And this he's done a few times where the food shouldn't be enough, and he really makes sure it's enough. So this was one miracle. Um, yeah. Also, I don't know if it's called bilocation. Well, yeah, it's like a bilocation. One time his voice, he had left the church. Because I was standing in the doorway. I was standing in the doorway with Swami Pritala, Swami Pepe, Swami Vijay. You guys know him, older man. We were standing together. We watched Guruji go out of the church. He had gotten in his golf cart. He went up. He was not in the church anymore. And he had suddenly, one of the priests said, in the name of the Father, to end the service, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. And Guruji's voice came booming from behind the altar, and he said, "Glory be to the Father." So he was correcting the priest. And I remember me and Pritala looked at each other because Guruji was not there anymore. But it was clear he was there. So things like this, and so many miracles all the time.
Yeah, but like when we are discussing together, like you shared one thing that really impressed me a lot. You said that it's not the miracles that really touch, like impress you. It's like
Yeah,
they are
yeah,
interesting,
yeah.
but like
Please.
but yeah, like so it's not like a miracle really makes you wonder, but just
No,
how good. Yeah.
yeah, I must say, I was sharing with Ramdasi that although we've seen so many miracles, I don't have a good memory for them because actually they're not so, I have to be honest, that they're not so impressive for me. I've always felt like, for me, it was always like the most impressive moments with Guruji was when he was able to be an excellent, talented human. This for me like blew my mind. I would, because like I said, I think for me anyways, God, of course he has to be divine. Of course he has to be able to do miracles. That's his nature. It has to be. But my God, the fact that he can be human, this for me was always like, wow. Yeah, he's able to be, and I think, yeah, I mean, so many moments. I mean, I think I can share it with you guys here. I think you won't be shocked. But in 2011, for example, we were in India. And India, it's a very interesting country, and sometimes it's challenging.
That's
And
a very, how to say, very adequate way to describe India. Interesting.
interesting, really interesting. And we had just arrived, we were in a small group, and we had just arrived at this ashram, very, very small ashram in the remote, it was on a small river island in India, and very, very remote, very, not a lot of modern things. And there was one toilet for all of us to use, and it was myself, Drishti, and there was Rina, one Mataji from England, and this one toilet. So we're three women, and this toilet is running. The water is running and running and running, and you cannot flush it. And so we're looking, we're trying, but three ladies were all like somehow with our hands folded, looking at this toilet, what to do, how to fix it. And suddenly Guruji comes from behind us and he says, "What's the problem?" And I said, "Oh, the toilet's broken. The water is running and you cannot flush it." And he says, "Okay, let me look." And I was he like, but really like a kid, like a big man. He pushes us aside, like, "Let me get to the toilet." And really he rolls up his sleeves and put his hands in the back of the tank of the toilet, and he said, "Yeah, this and this and this isn't connected." And he began to connect it, and really the toilet was working again. It was flushing everything, and he rolled down his sleeves, washed his hands, no problem. And I was so impressed. This for me was like, oh my God. Not only can he do every miracle and change the weather and do this and that, but he can even fix the toilet. I mean, what can he not do? Because, okay, miracles, yeah, God has to do that, but he can even fix the toilet. like a regular guy somehow, And the same with the car. He's maybe some of you know that he actually did have some mechanic training when he was a teenager because his mom said you have to go do something with your life. And he's very handy. This for me is always very amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like Guruji is always like trying to teach us like really to be grounded. Like
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's something that unfortunately devotees struggle to appreciate. Honestly, I think that's another thing of like really appreciating what what life is, the here and now. Um, and I think this is something that with the miracles, we forget that, again, the same way as I say there's no devotee, that there's no one who's not a devotee, there's really nothing in the life that is not miraculous, you know? And this is something that I think this groundedness of let me be here and now and see the miracle of my life as it is now, you know? And yeah, I think Guruji always shows us. I think what he exemplifies, he's the most human of the humans and he's the most divine of the divine. And he's really showing that it is both. You can be completely human, completely here and now, doing what you need to do, and also completely with God. They're not incompatible. They go together. He's amazing. He's really amazing.
oh yeah, thank you, Rishka. I think that's last sentence really give a how to say give a perfect conclusion for this satsang together. It's like be here, be now, enjoy all what you are doing, and but treat it like
Absolutely.
really like a miracle. Enjoy the
Yes,
divine presence.
yes, yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, I think, yeah, now. Guruji is always saying it, but the devotees, and we're always trying to wait for something else coming. And we think, but then, and later, and I will be, and when I'm better, and I'll be more spiritual. And this is just the mind. Like now is perfect. Perfectly fine how it is. Be with God now how you are. In what you're doing. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, because we are already a little bit how to say over the time, and we know how
Oh,
busy you are in
yes,
America.
please.
Yeah, so and we know it's early morning for you. Thanks again that you can
Thank
really
you
get
so
up so
much.
early. Although we know that you work in the kitchen, you are used to get up very early, but still we really appreciate your effort
Thank you so
share
much.
this
Thank you so much for
beautiful
inviting
things.
me. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a
So
big
let's just
pleasure.
give a last chance for the audience. Like maybe they have some questions. If they have questions, we can maybe answer one or two. Let's
Yeah,
see.
sure.
Mm.
It would be
So
so nice to see everyone's face.
oh, yes,
If you
please.
want, if you want, if you want, just maybe next
Okay.
time I see you, check it a
Yeah.
Jane.
So please,
Oh,
everybody,
nice.
like open
Only
your
if
camera
you
to
want.
see.
Check it a
Be
Jane.
happy
Nice.
to say hello to Rishka.
Yeah,
Thanks for this
super,
wonderful
super.
together.
Oh my gosh. Is everyone very spread apart? In China, it's
Yeah,
so huge.
China is
Wow,
so huge.
wow.
Yes.
Wow, congratulations. It's not easy to have a Sangha when everyone is so spread out. Really, really, congratulations. My pronouns to you. Amazing, amazing. Super
Yeah.
nice.
We have
Yeah.
like many major sanghas in different cities.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. That's very
Yeah.
good. And
So
and
maybe,
the most, oh yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Okay, maybe some like how to advice for the sangha, like like how to keep sangha together despite all the hard work, despite that we cannot see Guruji physically.
I know, I know. I think really, really, really try to cultivate the feeling of family. you know, because once you understand that this is really your family, in whatever way you want to imagine it, whether it's a spiritual family, whether you feel more like, no, these are just my brothers and sisters, but cultivate this feeling, because when you know it's your family, this will hold you together, even through the challenges, even through the fighting, even through the moments where you say, you know what, don't call me anymore. Don't want to talk to you right now. But there's this understanding that you're a family will keep you standing shoulder to shoulder, because you don't let go of your brother or sister. You don't let go of your mother or father. And this is what the Sangha becomes, you know. It really, at least for me, it's been something that I think the feeling of belonging to a family and belonging to Guruji, it holds me very strongly, even when I don't like the Sangha, or when I don't agree with the Sangha, or when I say, yeah, but that's not what Guruji said. You're not doing it right, right? Because these things come. Me too. I also think, you're getting it all wrong, you know? And yet, through that, there's always the underlying feeling, it's my family. What can I do? Oh, my brother, he's completely getting it wrong in my mind, right? But I know he's my brother. Like there's no leaving him, and there's also no leaving me. If I can't do it now, but next time, if there's a next satsang, I will tell about Suriname. It was so lovely because it was really this feeling of family. All my brothers came to my father's house, and yeah. So I think if sanghas can see themselves as family, it will be a different feeling, because you cannot divorce your family. You can say everything you want, but at the end of the day, you're tied together. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank
Rishka.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we won't hold you much longer, but there is actually one question. I don't know how you're gonna answer that. They're asking how to make butter.
So simple, so simple. You just take any cream, the best quality cream you can get your hands on. But even if you don't have good quality cream, you can also take pasteurized cream. But better is to take good quality cream, and you just throw it in the food processor, and you will whip it for about eight minutes. So if you were imagining that I was like at home like this, making the butter for 3 or 4 hours, no, I did not. I threw it into the food processor, and in about 10 minutes, actually, it separates from the water of the cream, and you have the butter curds, and you add a little bit of salt if you like, or honey or sugar if you like it sweet, and you just need to wash the solids. So whatever solids come off, you put them in a strainer, you wash it, and you squeeze as much water out as you can, and then you have butter. This was easy.
Wow.
Nice
Okay.
question. So for Janmashtami, the Sangha will have butter, no?
Yes, yes. Now we know how to make it, like with our love, by
Yeah,
our
so
hand.
exactly. Super
So
nice.
thank you so much, Rishka. We have to say goodbye. Like
Yes,
we
yes.
really looking forward for next time, maybe.
Jig the day.
Enjoy
Thank you
your
so
time
much
in
for
America.
having me. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Okay. So we're
Jig
gonna
the day.
chant the like a closing prayer. Okay.
Super,
Oh,
super.
Shanti,
Om
Shanti,
Shanti
Shanti.
Shanti Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. Super.
See you. I
Bye,
guess some of
everyone.
us gonna see you in America. You are not going to
Yes.
Just Love in
I
SPN
will
this.
be, no, I will be there for the festival. So I'll go back for the
Hey,
festival. Yeah, Guru
hey.
Purnima. So I'll see you then. And then
Okay.
all of you have to come to America, please, please. Or maybe I come to China.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Would be nice, would be nice. Jai Guru
Okay.
Dev, Jai Guru
Take
Dev.
good day. Bye. Good night,
Bye.
everybody.